a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
Hey, all you beautiful movie-loving people out there, live from a red carpet somewhere, surrounded by celebrities. This is the Movies Merica podcast with Van Ebert, where movie reviews meet cold brews. Van will review your favorite and maybe not so favorite movies while enjoying some ice-cold beers and saying cheers. Now let's head into the theater and join our illustrious movie reviewer du jour, who's no doubt got the beer ready to pour, Van Ebert. Hey everybody, welcome to Movies Merica podcast. Come on in. Sit down in your favorite beanbag chair, your favorite lazy boy. Relax your mind. Chill yourself. You know, today, I tell you, there's just, some movies where it's just a mind-blowing experience, a life-changing experience, a movie that reminds you why motion capture was first invented. The reason that we should all be happy that we have directors and cameras and lighting and just makes life worth living just thinking about this movie. Okay, I can't even convince myself. All right, here's just the trailer for Eternals.
Do you use catheters? Are you using the catheter that's really best for you?
Oh, yeah.
For years, I'd been using one kind of catheter, and I never...
I'm sorry about that, folks. Man, do I have egg on my face. Honest mistake. Okay, okay. That wasn't it. Okay, here's the trailer.
For years, we have watched and seen them accomplish wonders. But we have never interfered until now.
Once in a lifetime, a decision has to be made. Do I fold my socks first or my t-shirts? The ultimate destiny of my laundry will be decided now. Can you get any more overly dramatic with the narration on that? I tell you, the trailers nowadays, they sound a whole lot alike. And after you watch this movie, Eternals, and if you were to go back and watch that trailer and listen to the narration, it's going to just crack you up. It is just going to hit you. It's going to hit you right in a funny bone. Okay, but. All right, well, let's get right into it. Okay, with that, we are talking today about Marvel's latest sacrificial lamb. Cinematic release called Eternals. And before we get into the full meat of the review here, let me just remind you here that this podcast, Movies Merica, is on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. It's on Spotify, and also it's on moviesmerica.com. Moviesmerica.com, you'll find that there are some reviews on there that aren't on the podcast options there, so you get some bonus podcast. Bonus, right? Yes. You listen to those podcasts, it's like when you go into that bear claw machine, at Chuck E. Cheese, and you actually grab a prize, right? Extra podcast episodes to listen to. But on Apple Podcasts, it might be on Google Podcasts too, but I know on Apple Podcasts, you can give a 5-star rating or any rating, but I hope you give a 5-star rating if you would like to do that, if you're so inclined. And also you can put a review on there as well to let me know how you like or dislike the episode. It doesn't have to be the Gettysburg Address or the Old Testament, as far as the length of the review. Just want to put in there, yo, I like your episode. That's cool right there, okay? Also, I'm on Twitter and Instagram under Movies Merica if you want to share anything with me there. If you want to, throw me like a movie that you really liked or, tell me a cinematic cautionary tale of a movie that I should absolutely stay away from, like The Plague. Chances are I probably haven't learned my lesson and I've already fallen on that cinematic grenade and watched it and hated it. So, too. But you never know. You never know. So, and also, if you listen to any other episodes, you know that I like to quench that deep down body thirst with a beer brew every episode, okay? I mean, because, I'm not running a marathon, doing these reviews, doing the Movies Merica podcast. I mean, I'm not running 26.2 miles, but this is still back-breaking work here. I tell you, I'm really working up a sweat. And I have got to keep hydrated. And so in order to do that, and also to provide you with invaluable beer review information, I am going to drink a beer here again on this episode right there, So, and today's lucky brew, the brew that's going to get the final rose, is Bell's Two-Hearted Ale. That's right, Bell's Two-Hearted Ale. It is actually one of my favorite brews. And it's out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. And I tell you, this brew is so good. It's got a score of 95 on beeradvocate.com. That means it's world class, ladies and gentlemen. Take a bow. Let's clap right over here. Yeah, for the world class beer, Bell's Two-Hearted Ale. Check it out. I mean, it's not like this obscure underground beer that, you have to fly to a glacier, in the Arctic, to get, and it's only there, or some, speakeasy bar, in the, in the deep, seedy side of San Francisco to get it. No, you can get it on tap or, in cans, in various places. So yeah, check it out right there. And it is very tasty. And that is what I will be imbibing myself with tonight. Okay. And so let's get into Eternals. So Eternals, like I was saying, it's, Marvel's latest movie to come out. And just a quick synopsis of it. Eternals is about these characters. The main characters of the movie are literally called Eternals, hence the title. And they have been sent to Earth to defend humans from these creatures that are sent here to kill humans. And you find out in the movie that there's something happening where you have to have a certain amount of human life, a certain amount of intelligent life, and that means that you have to have a certain amount of humans in order for this event to happen. And so these creatures called Deviants get sent to Earth to kill humans to keep this from happening, but the Eternals are sent to Earth to kill these Deviants to save humans in order to prep for this event here. And the Eternals, as they've been here on Earth, they are used to move forward human progress, like inventions, and to help them out in life and influence philosophy and these kind of things. But you also learn that these characters are human. These aren't perfect creatures. They have human attributes. They fall in love. They have fear. They have regret, envy, all the emotions. But their main function, their job number one, is to fight these deviants, these creatures that are sent to Earth to kill humans. Well, you'll see in the movie there how that goes. And so the Eternals, they are played by some actors like Gemma Chan. She's a up and coming actress here, so I've heard good things about her. this movie, it's got a lot of Game of Thrones, references or connections in it. I mean, we've got Kit Harrington, who played, Jon Snow in Game of Thrones. You've got Richard Madden, who played Robb Stark in this movie. I mean, you've got a character named Sersi in this movie. If you've ever seen Game of Thrones, you know of the character Sersi. You definitely know about her. She's a major player in that TV series. So a lot of Game of Thrones. So you got, like I was saying, you have Richard Madden, you got Kit Harrington. You've also got some box office stars, is what I would call them. You've got Salma Hayek, you've got Angelina Jolie. They play a couple of the Eternals, and I have to say they are just wasted in this movie, particularly Jolie. Now, Angelina Jolie is not a bit player. I mean, she's a 10 megawatt action star, or at least she was, with the Lara Croft movies, a underappreciated movie from back in 2008 called Wanted with her and James McAvoy and Morgan Freeman. That was a great movie. She was kick-ass in that movie there. She was an action star in that movie. Salt, movie that came out, 10, 11 years ago, that I was really hoping that there would be a sequel for. She kind of reminded me kind of a female James Bond, but in an American James Bond. I mean, they're all talking about having a female James Bond now. But they had it 11 years ago with Angelina Jolie in Salt. She was a badass in that movie. She was hanging up there with the boys. She was an action star. Now, sadly, she's like just a bit player in this movie, and it's kind of sad to see here. I mean, it's almost like she's an extra, on a Geico commercial or something. Well, okay, maybe not that bad, but at least for me, I mean, maybe someone who really appreciates movie, maybe it's only going to seem that way to somebody who is into movies. But for me, seeing her in just kind of this bit part, it was weird. It was just weird to me. But she's in the movie as a character named Thena. She's one of the Eternals. And the movie is just, oh my God, let me just put this out here real quick here. This is a disclaimer, and this disclaimer is sorely needed because if you've heard anything about Eternals, one of the things you may have heard is that if you even whisper, if you even hint at anything approaching what some might call a negative review, a criticism, even slightly negative of this movie, you will have awakened the woke dragon. The mob will come after you, and they will just come after you and say that your criticism is completely off screen. You secretly thought the movie was the pinnacle of cinematic achievement, but because of off-screen stuff, of off-screen issues, you're criticizing the movie. Let's clear this up right now, okay? Put your ear up to the speaker and let me tell you this. All my criticisms are all about things on screen, okay? Nothing off screen. Now, with that being said, my biggest problem with this movie is all the characters are just so wooden. They're just so dull, okay? I've watched life insurance commercials that have more life to them than these characters. It's almost like the writers and the director, Chloé Zhao, just thought, let's put a bunch of pretty people up on screen, and we're going to put in some CGI like we've seen in the other 311 Marvel movies already. So it's I'm sure it's still fresh and new to to movie audiences. And, we're going to make it like 2.5 hours long to give you that misleading feeling that this is some kind of epic, I mean, Lawrence of Arabia, 2001 A Space Odyssey, Gone with the Wind, and Eternals. It's just not enough. It's just not enough. I mean, Marvel at this point, they're in phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they are dredging the Marvel, IP for comic book characters that barely anybody knows, and in that in and of itself may very well be okay. Okay, I mean, very few people knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were, right? And those 2 movies were incredible. I can't wait for the 3rd movie from James Gunn with the Guardians of the Galaxy. It doesn't matter if people don't know who these characters are. Black Panther, great movie. A very little known character. I mean, but now we've got characters where you really can't count on recognition and a built-in audience, right? You could count on a built-in audience for Iron Man and Captain America and the Avengers, right? Those are known commodities. Shang-Chi and Eternals, no. You've got to bring your A game to the screenwriting room, okay? You've got to make people care about these characters. You can't do like what they did with Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was, and unfortunately with that movie, I mean, it could have just been a great, movie where the hero, happened to be a woman, right? That's cool. I mean, I have no problem with that whatsoever. But they turn it into like this cause, right? This crusade, like, yeah, we've got this superhero that's a woman. Take that, misogynist men. But they thought that they had to make Brie Larson's Captain Marvel character like so dull, so wooden, so stiff. I mean, I've got dryer sheets with more personality than Captain Marvel, and I've got extension cords with more personality than all the characters in Eternals. And these are good actors in this movie. Gemma Chan's a good actor. You've got Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek, Richard Madden, Kit Harrington. These are good actors. And they just waste these actors. And even the premise of Eternals, they could have made a very compelling story. It's it's cool to think about. Okay, hey, there's these celestial beings called Eternals, and they're sent down by celestial, these characters called Celestials. Let's back that up. These superhuman super beings called Eternals sent down to Earth by Celestials, and they live forever. They're immortal. They live throughout history. They show them in this movie back in Mesopotamia, back in Babylon and in Central America, in Mexico, when the Aztecs were still wandering around. I mean, they're in history, and they're interacting with the people, and they're fighting these deviants. And you could have done something, with that. That is rich. That is rich property. That's fertile ground for a really great story. I mean, and this movie had 3 or 4 or 5 writers, and maybe Marvel, maybe Kevin Feige at Marvel is just churn and burn, baby. I want a screenplay, I want it in 3 weeks. I don't care how crappy it is. I want it now. That's the only thing I can think of. I wish that we would stop this thing where you just have to have this blueprint, or people have this false blueprint in their head as far as what they think a successful movie is going to be. You have to have pretty people in it, a bunch of CGI, and you can just forego the good storytelling and the great screenplay as long as you make this movie like a statement movie for a political stance or a woke movement or something like that. As long as it's that, you can omit the good screenplay, the good storytelling, the compelling characters part of that, because this is a woke movement event movie, or this is a a political tinged movie, that's supposed to be an event, supposed to be like a hell yeah for our cause kind of movie. Like, no. That doesn't work. You still need to have a compelling story, a compelling screenplay, interesting characters where you give a crap whether they live or die. This movie, part of this movie, as with a lot of movies, involves the possible destruction of the Earth. And to be honest with you, I was like, you know what, Earth, I don't care if you meet your demise. Humans, I don't care if you all die, because this movie didn't make you care about that. And probably the problem, one thing that lends to that is we've got so many movies where the Earth is destroyed, right? I mean, thank you, Roland Emmerich, 2012, The Day After Tomorrow, and in his upcoming Moonfall movie. It's like, all these movies about, the Earth is going to be destroyed. Like, we're numb to that, And so if you're going to have a movie that involves the Earth being destroyed, since that's not exactly virgin territory anymore, you gotta make us care. Make us care about that, And, and because of that, I mean, just watching Eternals just seemed literally like an eternity. It actually made me yearn for the sweet release the end credits would bring. And typically with a Marvel movie, I stay to like watch the post credits scenes that they have, and I have to be honest with you, I couldn't wait to get out of that theater. That movie theater seat was like a sleep number bed to me. I mean, and so I'd say that just to warn you, like I would not waste your money on this movie right here. I was hoping this movie would be a good one, but just I think that I would not be doing a public service if I were to recommend this movie. But go back and instead go watch a classic Marvel movie. Go watch Ant-Man or Black Panther or Avengers or one of the Captain America movies, Captain America Civil War, something like that. I mean, and speaking of which, I think one thing that could have helped this movie is if they would have had like one or two characters from Phase 1 or Phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies in it, to just make it feel like it takes place in that same world of Captain America and Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, you have nobody from those movies in this movie right here. I mean, they make mention of Thanos and the finger snap. And, but that's it. They just make mentions of it. And when you're watching, after you come out of this movie, you're going to be thinking like, okay, this isn't really giving anything away, but the Eternals, they reveal that they've been commanded not to get involved with any catastrophes, any calamities, any destruction, any of the big events that you've seen in all the Marvel movies up until now. The attack on New York and Avengers, Thanos finger snap, Age of the destruction of Sokovia, and at the end of Age of Ultron, Age of Ultron. They none of that kind of stuff they can get involved in. They have to just kind of like sit back on the sidelines and not do anything about that. And when you walk out of the theater and you walk out of the theater, or after you watch this movie and you think about it a little bit, you're thinking some of those events they should have gotten involved in, because those events really threaten their goal that you learn of in this movie here. But it's just kind of lazy writing, because none of these characters have been in the previous Marvel movies. So I'm sure the screenwriters are sitting around the table like, oh, God, man, are we in a pickle? None of these characters have been in any of the other Marvel movies. Man, we're going to really have to think of a way, a believable way, a credible way of explaining like why we haven't seen any of these characters. Hey, I got it. Ding, 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 ding. Hey, we'll just say that they were told not to interfere in any of this stuff. Wow, bravo, you're a genius. And it just, I'm not buying it. They don't sell it at all. But if they would have had, one or two characters from the other movies right there to kind of give it more of a connection, that would have served this movie a whole lot better, okay? All right. Well, you know what? I've spent enough time on poor old Eternals, bashing it over the head. I would just say, next time, Kevin Feige and Marvels, do better. Okay, just do better. I mean, respect your audience and put out, better product out there than this. But, all right. Well, hey, you know what? Maybe my next review will be a little bit more chipper and cheery and all that. But, you know what? We keep it real here at Movies Merica. But with that, hey, I want to thank everybody for listening to this podcast here. Please recommend it to your friends. Please give it a 5-star review or 5-star rating. Give it a review on Apple Podcast. Feel free to, like I said, refer it to your friends. Send it out to the masses. Spread it to the world, okay? And with that, you guys have a great one. Make your life the best one. Okay, I sound like Tony Robbins there, so I'm just going to stop, okay? All right. All the best to you guys. Bye.
Hey, guys, don't leave the video quite yet. Okay, I've got the Popo. They're coming after me. And I don't have much time to tell you, but you need to like and subscribe this video right here, down below. It's right down there. It's just waiting. It's waiting for you down there, okay? And make sure you watch these videos over here, too. You'll be doing me a big favor. I'll be in handcuffs pretty soon. All right. Thanks for watching.